Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
BSM presents The Tim Meisberg Show, streaming live on WBSM.com and the WBSM app. Call 508-996-0500. Send us app chat messages and open line voicemails using the WBSM app. Now, The Tim Meisberg Show.
Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome into the program. It's bright and sunny out, right in my face. But it's only about, it was 38 degrees when I was coming in, so maybe a little bit warmer now, but it's going to be colder today than it's been the last couple of days. But we'll still take it, especially over rain. So we have a lot that we can discuss this morning, and we'll take your phone calls at 508-996-0500, your app chat messages, and your open line voicemails on the WBSM app. We have 2 days remaining for you to try to win cash. It's just today and tomorrow. We're down to the last 20 codes, 10 each day. They'll start at 8 a.m. this morning, and we'll have a code for you each hour from 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. today, and again tomorrow. Each time you hear those codes, you can enter them at WBSM.com or on the WBSM app. We are 2 days away from the end of this contest, yet we still have people that are sending in those codes on app chat. And I have to reiterate, that doesn't work. That's not an entry. You have to do it on the Win Cash page. But when you do that, you'll be entered to win the hourly prize of $100, and you'll get an entry into the grand prize drawing for $30,000. So wouldn't that be a nice way to end your week, to end the month of April, to find out that you won $30,000? That's Win Cash on WBSM, brought to you by Architect Managed IT Services and Hair and Motion Cosmetology. So 20 codes left, 10 today, 10 tomorrow. Make sure that you are listening and you get them all. So one thing that I wanted to discuss, Channel 5 had this story this morning, WCVB.com. And this is something that we've been following. And certainly, by the way, I don't want people to think that we're going to abandon discussing the Fairhaven police situation, civil service situation. Welcome your phone calls on that. Chris really dove into that even more yesterday, and he's going to keep talking about that. But that's still on the table. But this is something that we've been talking about here on WBSM for quite a while now. The idea of this equity theft. That people who are losing their homes due to unpaid tax bills have the equity in those homes stolen from them. You owe $1,500 in taxes you can't pay. Your town or city seizes the property. The property ends up getting sold for $200,000. You don't get the difference. You don't get to say, well, all right, you take your $1,500 out and I get the rest. It all goes to the municipality, or if they've worked with one of these companies that pays off the tax debt, it goes to the company. which was what was happening here in New Bedford. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional last spring. Now, New Bedford pulled back on seizing properties because of this until this all shook out. But now there is a lawsuit that's been filed in the town of Greenfield. Well, the city of Greenfield. There were two people, Stephen Woodbridge and Roberta Browning, that fell behind on their taxes. The city of Greenfield foreclosed on their homes, sold their properties, and kept the profits beyond what they owed. So this wasn't a company coming in and doing it. This was the city of Greenfield doing it. Stephen Woodbridge fell behind $5,700 in taxes. With interest and fees, his debt increased to $54,000, which he couldn't pay. In 2019, the city of Greenfield foreclosed on his home and the 19 acres of his land. The city then sold the home and 13 acres of the land for $270,000 and kept the roughly $215,000 in excess profit. The city also kept 6 of the acres for public trails. So not only did they foreclose on the property, sell it, and pocket the profit, they took 6 acres of it to use for public land. That's theft. There's no other word for it. And in the case of Roberta Browning, she fell behind on her taxes by $1,500, which increased to $15,000 with interest and fees. The city foreclosed, sold her home for $34,000 and kept the profits. But she alleges the sale price was below market value because her home sold again less than 2 years later for $272,000. So they basically took $272,000 out of her pocket over a $1,500 tax bill. And I get it. You have to pay your property taxes. And I'm sure these aren't situations where, although looking at those numbers, this doesn't seem like a multi-year problem to me. She fell behind $1,500. Was that 1 year's tax bill? You couldn't work something out with her? The other gentleman fell behind, what, was it $5,400, $5,700? Well, if he had all that land, that could have been 1 year's taxes for him. And I wonder, and this question isn't answered in the story, but I wonder how long these people had lived in their homes. Because what was their track record of paying their property taxes? Was this an anomaly? Because you would think if somebody had been in a home for 15, 20 years and had been paying their property taxes without issue, and then all of a sudden had an issue, you would think they'd get a lot of leeway. You still have to pay the taxes, but there should be some leeway in that situation. This isn't like it's somebody who bought a house, was in over their head, trying to make the mortgage payment. Well, I don't know that it isn't. I'm just saying, in the cases here in New Bedford that we heard about, these were people that had lived in their homes for decades. And in some cases, which I believe was the case with Roberta Browning, oh, maybe not. But there, in some cases where they have done this, the home was paid off. So the person was under the assumption that they had this equity for the rest of their life. Maybe they were going to sell the home to take care of themselves in their older age. Maybe they were going to leave it to family. But they had plans for that equity. and over $1,500, it gets taken away. So I don't know how municipalities are able to do this with a clear conscience. Especially the city of Greenfield. It's just egregious to not only take the property and sell it, but to take part of the property and turn it into public trails. That's just astounding to me. That's rubbing it in. And maybe these folks didn't take the warning seriously enough. Maybe they were given ample opportunity to pay it back, but it still doesn't feel right that you would lose hundreds of thousands of dollars over a couple of $1,000s. And this isn't, the IRS coming in and seizing property. This is your friends, your neighbors, people that you know in town, the people that you've elected. This is theft from a community member, from other people in the community. And it's just disgusting. So if this lawsuit shakes out in favor of these two residents, well, that's going to send shockwaves through Massachusetts to all the other people who have lost their property in similar fashion and lost the equity in that property. And if the city of Greenfield is found to have to pay these residents the money that was taken from them, the equity that was taken from them, well, there's going to be a lot more lawsuits that follow suit. You tell me that the city of New Bedford would be liable to pay me back $200,000 in stolen equity? And again, New Bedford was using a company to do it, but still, let's just say that's worth hiring a lawyer for and fighting every step of the way. So you're going to see, if this works out in their favor, you're going to see a lot more cases that follow. 508-996-0500. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on WBSM.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. And boy, isn't that a story.
Yeah.
Originally, wasn't it that the town used to take taxes when they needed it, when they had a problem in town? And after that, they wouldn't collect anymore. But somewhere along the way, must have been some mean Democrats that did this.
Well, I think it was as more services were provided. So as you had, full-time police departments, fire departments, municipal maintenance departments, water service, things like that, when you're going to have those services on a daily basis, you're going to need to pay for them on a daily basis.
Okay, I guess I could accept that. Still, I don't like it. But this story that you're talking about, they should not only, they should sue for sure, and they should also be given back their property for being so mean, rotten, and nasty. Give it back, the whole thing.
Well, I mean, in the case of that gentleman who they took it for a park, for trails, they could do that. But I think in the other cases, these properties have already been sold to somebody else.
Yeah, but that's not it. You said they own what? Little money, right? Wasn't it? What did you just say? How much they owed?
One owed $1,500, the other owed $5,700 originally, and then there were some fees. But still, the woman's amount turned out to be $15,000 with interest and fees, and then the man's was $54,000 with interest and fees.
Something really has to be done with taxes. People work so hard for a little home, and sometimes it's so small, the house. I have a friend that her house is so tiny. There's hardly any room, closet, or any. I mean, why is it so much money? I would be happy in just a little shack out in the woods, But these houses today, I don't know what's going. There's something definitely wrong here. It's too much money.
Well, I mean, even small places are way too much money. But I have seen some prices come down on things. I've seen some pretty decent homes that are on the market for around $380,000, which is pretty good in this market.
Well, I just think it's sad for those people. They should have started something right away. How long has this case been going on?
So these houses were just seized a few years ago, but I don't know how long they owed this money for.
Only $1,500?
Yep, $1,500 that went to $15,000 with interest and fees.
Doesn't make any sense. Does it make sense to you to be like that?
No, and
do you think things ought to be changed?
And
what can we do to change it? What could we possibly do to change that?
So there is some legislation in Massachusetts that will prevent this from happening, and you can reach out to your legislators and tell them that you support that. But here in the New Bedford area, the legislators already support it. So
we can stop Maura Healey from taking vacations.
No, this
huh?
isn't tied into that. This is municipalities.
No, I know it's not. But what I meant was, look how some people can live. Look what she's doing. And here, people that owed a lousy $1,500. I'm sorry, my mind is all twisted with this.
Yeah, we've had it happen in New Bedford. We've had people who have lost their homes over small amounts of taxes owed.
And they do say that Massachusetts is the worst place to live. I'm starting to believe it now. But I mean, I was born here. I don't want to go away anywhere. Where am I going to go? I'm used to being here. I'm used to even the panhandlers now, you know. They know me so good. They say, hey, good morning, Mary. That's because I made the mistake of giving them $2, you know. So now they come after you. They target you when they know, hey, that person gives, you know. Let's go over to see her. Even though I tell them over and over, they know me now. But even though I tell them over and over, listen, you're asking me for cigarettes all the time. I've told you how many times I don't smoke. You're still asking me for it. He says, well, you know, when you're desperate, ma'am, I'm desperate too. I need an oil change right now. I said, you know, I have to scrape up the money too, but I mean, I'm not standing on the corner. Thank God for that. I know that I'm better off than they are. I mean, I'm not homeless, but a lot of them don't even want a place. They've been offered, and they're so used to the street life, they just can't change. I hope somebody else calls them about this story. Maybe with different ideas. We could think of something. What could we do to change it?
Well, they're working on it. I mean, the Supreme Court called it unconstitutional, so that sets the tone right there. That I've got a feeling that this lawsuit might get found in favor of these people, so that could reverberate through the rest of the state.
Oh, before I hang up, is there any news about those 4 panda bears? Anything? I haven't been looking.
No, I haven't seen anything about it.
And you said it was temporary, though. I heard you say that.
Yeah, it was like it's an exchange program, like an ambassadorship program. They send the pandas out for a few years to stay in different zoos.
Don't you think that's horrible? They were so comfortable in their own environment. Now they're being moved around everywhere, dragged around everywhere.
Well, they were endangered in the wild, so. And I don't think these ones were ever in the wild. I think these ones were born in captivity.
It's all sad, but thanks for taking my call.
All right, you have a good day.
You too, thank you.
And we're going to take a break here, but 508-996-0500 is the number to call in and chime in. We're going to take this break and be back in a few moments.
Don't wish it away, don't look at it like it's forever. Between you and me, I could honestly say that things can only get better. And while I'm away, dust out the demons inside. Before you and me run to the place in our hearts where we hide. And I guess that's why they call it the blues. Time on my hands.
And you know, you might get the blues when you open up your electric bill and you say, how is it so high? I've got to look into solar. Because if it really can save me some money, I've got to do something. And how do you know if it really can save you some money? How do you know if your home is the right fit for solar? How do you know if any of the promises that are made are true or not? Well, you can call Isaacson Solar. They are the folks that will come to your home. They will take a look and see if you are right for solar. If you are, they'll give you a free, no obligation quote. But the important thing is they're going to answer all of your questions openly, honestly, transparently. And you will have all the answers that you need to make the best decision for you, your family, your home, and, of course, your wallet. So reach out to Isaacson Solar at isaacsonsolar.com. Schedule them to come on out and take a look. Again, if you are a good fit for solar, they will give you a free, no-obligation quote. They will sit down. They will answer all your questions. They will separate all the myths from the truths. They'll be with you not only through the process, but even after the process. And if you're not a good fit for solar, they'll just say, nah, I don't think this is a great idea for you. And you can shake hands and part ways as friends, because they're not looking to just install solar panels on anybody's home. They want to do it on places where it will make sense for the homeowner. So again, reach out to them, isaacsonsolar.com, and schedule them to come on out today, and you can start getting ready to go solar. All right, we are getting ready to go into the newsroom with Phil. When we come back on the other side, more of your calls, 508-996-0500. We'll also take your app chat messages, your open line voicemails. We can talk more about this story that WCVB has about the city of Greenfield, 2 people suing the city for equity theft. And, wow, I apologize, Phil. I'm sitting here rambling and looking at the clock, and I didn't realize that it was a minute past when I was supposed to go to you.
You're forgiven.
I was like, I just got to talk to 6:30. And then I just looked and I was like, it's 6:31. How did that happen?
It is your show, Tim. You can do whatever you want.
Did I just have missing time? Was I abducted by aliens? You were sitting in there. Did you see me in this seat the whole time?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
All right. I'm just going to get out of this now and go to Phil while I go look for any implants that are in my body anywhere.
A tabloid editor back on the stand in Trump's criminal trial. Arizona repeals a 19th century abortion law. And music history found in an attic.
From the WBSM Newsroom, this is WBSM News.
Former President Trump returns to court in New York City this morning for his criminal hush money trial. Jurors will again hear testimony from former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker, who's explained this week how he protected Trump from negative stories leading up to the 2016 presidential election while smearing Trump's opponents. Also today, former President Trump's claim that he can't face prosecution for anything done while in the Oval Office if he's not first impeached by the House and convicted by the Senate goes before the Supreme Court. Arizona's House of Representatives has voted to repeal a Civil War-era abortion law. State Democrats successfully pushed through a bill that repeals the 1864 law that banned nearly all abortions. The bill now heads to the state Senate, where it's expected to be passed early next month. The Arizona Supreme Court revived the law earlier this month, with it set to go into effect as early as June. The 7 World Central Kitchen workers killed in Gaza will be honored this morning at Washington National Cathedral. The workers were killed in an Israeli airstrike on April 1st while bringing food aid to people in the war-torn Palestinian territory. President Biden's campaign will continue to use TikTok despite the recent bill that could lead to its ban. On Wednesday, the president signed a foreign aid package that also laid the groundwork to ban TikTok in the U.S. The same day, a Biden campaign official told reporters that TikTok is still, quote, one of many places we're making sure our content is being seen by voters. A U.S. Secret Service agent assigned to Vice President Harris is being hospitalized after showing what's described as distressing behavior Monday morning. The incident took place at Joint Base Andrews, with Harris not present at the time. According to CBS News, the agent was speaking incoherently, eventually physically provoking another officer. A reported associate of Sean Diddy Combs is pleading not guilty to drug possession in a Florida court. Brendan Paul was charged yesterday in Miami with felony cocaine possession. The former Syracuse basketball player was arrested last month. On the same day, federal agents raided 2 of the music mogul's homes. Teen births in the U.S. are at a record low. A new report from the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics says about 3.5 million teen births were recorded in the U.S. in 2023. That's down 2% from the year before and follows a general decline in teen births over the past 10 years. And a Beatles guitar that's been missing for over 50 years has been discovered in the attic of a British house. Julian's Auction says the 12-string Hootenanny acoustic guitar is the same one John Lennon played on classics such as Norwegian Wood, and he can be seen playing the guitar in the movie Help. Julian says in a press release that the guitar disappeared in the late 1960s and was recently found in an attic in the rural British countryside. It'll go up for auction next month in New York City, expected to fetch over $800,000 and could set a new record for the highest-selling Beatles guitar.
WBSM Sports.
Well, the Bruins beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-2 in Game 3. They stay in Canada for Game 4 on Saturday night. The Celtics lost Game 2 to the Heat, however, 111-101. Game 3 in Miami on Saturday night. And the Red Sox beat the Guardians 8-0 to even their series. Next game today, just after 1 o'clock.
Now, your ABC 6 South Coast forecast.
Good to be with you, everybody, on this Thursday morning. We're under a freeze warning up until 8 o'clock this morning with these temperatures in the mid to low 30s. It feels like in the mid 20s this morning under clear skies. As we head into the afternoon, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures will be struggling to make it into the upper 40s. Overnight tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow, sunny. Temperatures rebounding into the lower 50s, mid 50s, and sunny by Saturday. From the ABC 6 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ceci Del Carmen on New Bedford's News Talk Station, 1420 WBSM.
I'm Phil Devitt for WBSM News. Stay up to date with New Bedford's News Talk Station, WBSM, and get all of our content and breaking news alerts with the WBSM app.
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you. But it's gonna take money. A whole lot of spending money. It's gonna take plenty of money to do it right, child. It's gonna take time. Whole lot of precious time. It's gonna take patience and time. To do it right, child.
There's another one of those weird synchronicities. I queued up that song before Phil did the news. Then he's got a story about George Harrison and the Beatles, and I've got George Harrison ready to go. So there we go. Maybe that alien abduction gave me some psychic powers. Who knows? So Phil mentioned in the news the TikTok ban, which was essentially signed into law yesterday by President Biden. However, it's not going away anytime soon, and it may not go away at all. So the bill gives TikTok, their parent company, ByteDance, it gives them about 9 months to be able to find a buyer to at least take over the U.S. portion of TikTok. ByteDance has said that's not going to happen. We're not going to be forced into a sale, and they're planning on fighting it in the courts. As it stands now, President Biden can extend that to a year if he so chooses, or whoever the president is when that time runs out. But also that litigation that is almost a guarantee will drag things out as well because, TikTok could file for an injunction to be allowed to operate while this is being settled. And it's a stupid thing. It's a stupid thing for politicians to be rallying around when there are plenty of other ways that our data is being stolen. I mean, how many times has there been hacks into store credit card systems, into banking apps? There's been hacks that have happened, and nobody said, well, we've got to ban the Bank of America app because it got hacked. And it didn't. I'm just using that as an example. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to go check your account. But they're not looking to, shut down Walmart or Home Depot or Target because their POS systems have allowed for, and the credit card systems have allowed for people's data to get stolen. And you can say, well, this is different, Tim. The Chinese government is tied into TikTok. Well, you don't think that the Chinese government, if it wants the data, can get the data from these breaches? These breaches are happening from black market hackers for a reason. They're not taking your data so that they can steal your money. They can sell that data. So there's other issues that are going on. TikTok's just being scapegoated for this. And I don't love TikTok. I don't spend a lot of time on it, but it's people's choice if they want to download it knowing the risk. There are plenty of other apps that come from China that people download, and nobody's concerned about those. So I think at worst, you should have a warning when people, and you could make it so that not only is it when they download it, but every time they open it, there could be a warning that says, we can't guarantee that your data does not end up in the hands of the Chinese government. And then leave it up to people to decide whether or not they want to use TikTok. You want to ban it on government phones? That's fine. Those are government phones. You control those. But you don't control the phone that I have in my pocket. And not only, I think the number I heard on America in the Morning was 8,000 U.S. employees of TikTok. So it's not only 8,000 people in America that would lose their jobs. There's a lot of content creators in America that depend on the income they make from TikTok. Now we can say, is that really a viable career? Should you really be depending on social media money? I wouldn't. You might not. But to these people, it's a job. Or at least it's a revenue stream. And you're going to block them from being able to make that money? So not only will you have lawsuits from TikTok trying to stop this ban, you might get some lawsuits from individuals for lost wages, from companies for lost income. Because there's a lot of money being made off that app by Americans. And I just don't understand why. I mean, ByteDance could probably give overseers more of a look under the hood. And maybe that's something that gets settled in court later on. But to outright ban it just seems heavy-handed. And it seems like it's going to backfire. Now, Donald Trump has come out and basically made this a Joe Biden issue. He wants people who are upset about this to know it was Joe Biden that banned TikTok. Even though Donald Trump sought to do the same thing when he was in office and the courts wouldn't allow it, he's reversed course. And he's come forward and said it's not the right thing to do. And it's a smart move by him because not only is he right, but he's also portraying himself now to the younger voters who are going to be turned out by this. There will be people who wouldn't have voted in the upcoming election. Young people who are apathetic. This issue will get them to vote. Believe it or not. I know it sounds stupid. It's just an app, but it'll get them out there to vote. I don't think people understand how much TikTok has become part of people's everyday lives. Again, I don't use it every day. Every once in a while, I might get a notification and I'll open it up and see what's up. And it's on, one of my videos that I posted a year ago. Sometimes if I'm bored or waiting at the doctor's office or something, I might scroll through because I follow a lot of stand-up comedians and music bands and musicians, and you get some cool behind-the-scenes stuff. But then you get a lot of people that think that they're funny, a lot of people that think that they're edgy. That stuff just doesn't appeal to me. But there's a lot of paranormal content on there. People that are going live from investigations, people that are telling stories of haunted places or ghost stories or, strange and unusual tales that take 60 seconds. So there's content that I do find interesting. It's just not something that I pay that much attention to. But I should have the choice. Even if you want to warn me as I open it that my data may be compromised, I'd still take the risk. Because first of all, the assumption here is that your data is being compromised and that the Chinese government is doing something with it. And I just assume my data is compromised all the time, honestly. Like if I buy something online, I will smartly check to make sure that the website is HTTPS. So it's at least as secure as it can be before I put any financial information in there. But I try to check everything. I did my taxes the last couple of years on a site that I had never heard of before, but that was very affordable. And in some cases, if you got it at the right time or you had the right amount to file, free. And I probably spent more time researching that site and looking up information about it online than it actually took me to do the taxes before I felt comfortable doing it. You just put that little bit of extra effort and you can remain as safe as possible. Don't just put your credit card information into every site that you see. 508-996-0500. I've got to take a break. We'll be back in a few moments. This song and be in a bad mood. It's just such a great song. Walk of Life, Dire Straits. And as much as people raved about the Money for Nothing video, because back in those days, kids, computer graphics were a rarity. They weren't everything. And the CGI that we had in those days was a little different. But it was a much talked about video. I would sit around waiting for it to come on MTV or Nick Rocks. And but Walk of Life was just as much of a fun video with all the sports bloopers and a lot of fun. I saw a meme going around the other day that said people are claiming that the moon landing was faked and that it was all done with computer graphics in 1969. And then next to that it says computer graphics in 1985, and it shows a frame from the Money for Nothing video. Like, yeah, they were kind of blocky and cartoonish. Back in those days, my computer experience was, I don't know if anybody else ever used this. We used to use a program called Logo. And there was a turtle, was what they called the little icon. And you would type in commands to make the turtle draw lines. And it would make like a box. And that was our computer programming. I still, to this day, don't know what the purpose of it was. I don't know what we were learning. But we were just so excited to use a computer. We're like, this is great. This is the future. In the future, we're going to be using computers to draw lines. And I guess there's a lot of folks that do that. But they can kind of do a lot more these days. I was also, excited to go home and watch The Cosby Show on Thursday nights. So things have changed, I would say, since then. Wouldn't be so excited about Bill Cosby anymore. 508-996-0500. So Chris Richard, who is the town's tourism director here in Fairhaven, posted this on Facebook, so I just thought I would make the announcement. It's in the Fairhaven Neighborhood News that will come out today, that he is retiring from that position effective May 31st. So he has done a fantastic job. Always great information from Chris. He posts things on social media. He has created the walking tour. He's done so much to promote Fairhaven history. Those are going to be some very hard shoes to fill. And it sounds like they're looking at maybe changing that position a little bit going forward. But hopefully he can stick around and be, it suggests that he might stick around and be the official town historian, which would be great. But well-deserved retirement. 508-996-0500. That is the number to call in and chime in. I'm going to take one more break this hour, so let me get that out of the way. All right, that's about going to wrap it up for this hour. Stay tuned. We have 2 more hours of the program coming your way. We'll be back right after the news. We'll take more of your phone calls at 508-996-0500. We will also take your app chat messages and your open line voicemails. Again, too, starting at 8 a.m., we'll have your final, what do they call it? The penultimate, second to last day of cash codes to try to win cash on WBSM. They'll be starting up at 8 a.m. We'll have a cash code for you every hour, 10 codes throughout the day, today and tomorrow. Those are your final chances to try to not only win the $100.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.